But had 4 weeks to get over that race anyway, and Al WAAB, it's an interesting one in a very decent little race, and I must admit, I thought Al WAAB would be closer than into Timonier.
Yeah, I thought there wasn't too much between all of them, to be honest. We'll just talk about Luhaif, who's the Mick Shannon horse Sam Hitchcock rides. He was third at Goodwood last time to Olympic Glory, and I'm fairly sure that's the best form on offer by some way in this field.
It is by some way, but the only trouble was I wouldn't say he sort of got the run of the race, but it was very much a bunch finish. He did lead all the way. Olympic Glory that day, you had to give a few pounds away on the penalty from his previous win at Newmarket. Didn't have the clearest of runs, didn't act on the course. And I think on another track, another day, Olympic Glory would have won by a wide-ish margin, and the rest would have finished in a bit of a heap. I think Luhaif, things rather went his way that day. It was a good effort, and he has got good form prior to that, including winning here as maiden over 6 lengths back at the end of June.
Yes, exactly.
But he's already had half a dozen runs, and although that was clearly his best effort last time, maybe things went to suit it a little bit that day, and there could be more to come from the others.
Okay, Ask Dad. Is he overpriced a little bit, given that he was 6th in the Windsor Castle, and then it was a hard-fought success, he turned out pretty quickly after the Windsor Castle for that hard-fought success.
Yeah.
At Salisbury, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd certainly forgive him that last one at Salisbury. He looked a bit of a certainty that day, and he was struggling a little bit to beat Ashard of the Roger Varians, but the fact was they went to the well probably a little bit quickly after a Royal Ascot effort. They now backed off, given the horse 6 or 7 weeks off, and I'm sure that the horse will benefit from that, because they just probably wanted to get a maiden on the board with the horse after Royal Ascot. But Ask Dad, it's
on the drift a bit.
It is.
Oh no, sorry, 100 to 30. No, it's Luhaif that's the drifter, isn't it?
Yeah, Luhaif has been very weak in the market. Ask Dad, it's a lot better horse than the showed at Salisbury that day. It's
yes,
more
exactly.
Horse we saw at Royal Ascot.
I think people rightly have thought that 4 to 1 was a bit big, and now 100 to 30. But Timonier remains a warm order here, well backed, 15 to 8. 2 more to go. Here's John.
Thanks, Angus. Luhaif will be next, the third one to stride into the stalls, into box number 4, and then the Blue of Godolphin, Timonier and Frankie Dettori. The last one's in. Intriguing little race here, set. And they're off. So away they jump, and Luhaif shaken along in the early stages. Interesting though that Timonier, Frankie Dettori edging down towards the stand side. Luhaif and Ask Dad and Al WAAB in behind in the early stages. Dettori just definitely seems to have tracked across to middle stand side of the track here to lead this field early in the Liberty Mutual Insurance Condition Stakes race. Luhaif now on an even keel, matches strides for the lead in the yellow jacket. So Luhaif is being followed by Ask Dad, Timonier being followed by Al WAAB. They're the recent course and distance winners, tracking each other stand side. So, passing halfway, little to choose between Timonier and Luhaif, with Ask Dad and Al WAAB yet to make any sort of move on the front 2, as they now race on with under 3 furlongs left to go. Downhill run to the 2-pole. Timonier, Luhaif once again chased along. Ask Dad switched to the far side, Al WAAB to the stand side, and a length between all 4 of them now as they head down into the dip. So just a furlong and a half left to go right across the track. Al WAAB with Timonier this side, far side is Ask Dad. Luhaif has weakened out of it, the first beaten, but it's Al WAAB who strikes for home here. Al WAAB goes on with Ask Dad on the far side. Timonier unable to quicken. It is Al WAAB maintaining an unbeaten record for Sir Henry Cecil. Tom Queally in the saddle. A brace of course and distance wins here at Newmarket for Al WAAB, Ask Dad, Timonier and Luhaif, the back marker.
I think we've seen a nice performance there from this 2-year-old. Well entered up, as John mentioned earlier on, and I think he's done this pretty comfortably, and he's not just beaten modest horses, he's beaten winners, and winners that are quite highly thought of, winners that have won quite decent races. So overall, I'll be very positive about this, John.
Absolutely. This looked a fair contest before today. Luhaif set a very decent standard, already rated 105, albeit from that Goodwood run, which we just thought it may have fallen in his lap a little bit that day.
Yeah.
But the other horses in the race were decent horses. Timonier was very well backed from the Godolphin yard. And in fact, Al WAAB, off not the strongest pace, has actually given the other 3 a bit of a head start, and has done it really well in the end. They've shunned the far rails, they're racing up the centre of the course. Luhaif, like at Goodwood, you would expect in a 4-runner race, has tried to make all. Frankie Dettori is always with on Timoneer, going strongly enough. And Ryan Moore tracking Luhay from the far side on Arstad. But Tom Creeley is happy to give the other three a start. He knows what he's got under him. And that's a pretty decent response.
I think he was always travelling smoothly, he really was. Ryan Moore is just beginning to ask Dad, see what I mean? And Al WAAB is coming this side. And Tom Creeley, I never got the impression he ever went for, you know, the last couple of gears that he's probably got. He's just changed his hands, a little slap down the neck.
He's just done enough on the horse.
Yeah.
And the horse is actually doing not an awful lot in front, you'd have thought. He's given her one slap behind, just pushing him along really, and the horse is, you can see, just dossing in front really.
Dossing, pricking his ears, dossing, idling, whatever you want to call it. Arstad's just folded up a little bit. I wonder if 6 furlongs is better for him.
It could well be.
Yeah.
I think he's run into a bit of a good horse there today. I think there wouldn't be at all surprised to see some guineas quotes being mooted after that. Al WAAB was very impressive. We mentioned he's got the entries. He was weak in the market when he won at Newmarket on softish ground first time up, but clearly the fast ground here, no problem at all to the son of Danehill Dancer. And that's a really nice performance by a likeable colt.
Very much so. I really did like the way he did that. I'm sure Henry Cecil will find a good opportunity for him after this, but it'll be interesting to see where he does go with him. He looks pretty useful. Al WAAB, the name, 3-1 was the price. Arstad 100 to 32nd. Timoneer was the favourite, well backed. Only third, no excuses, all 4 round.